Since I'm out on Folsom and fishing is slow, I'm going to show you how some of these different lures act underwater. This first one, this is kind of like a quick fish. I don't know the specific name of this, but watch what happens underwater here. You can see how that lure just kind of has very erratic behavior back and forth. Sometimes a presentation like that can get a reaction bite. Fish aren't necessarily hungry, but this thing is bugging them. And there are several other lures that act like this too, including apexes, which I've had a lot of success with. I've had some success with this lure too. This is a speedy shiner, frog pattern. Comes in many different patterns. And I'll show you how this works underwater. We're trolling at about 2.7, and these can be trolled, hence the name Speedy Shiner. They can be trolled up to 3.5 miles an hour. And there you see the action. It's just kind of got a flutter action to it. And yeah, this is probably the #1 go-to spoon for most of the lakes around here. This is the Trout Tricks worm, and that's an action disc. And you'll see what it does when you put it in the water. The Trout Tricks worm on its own doesn't have any action. You don't need the action disc if you're going to put it behind a flasher, let's say. But if you're just running it naked, which is what most of us are doing right now, you want that action disc on there because it gives it a little bit of action. So there's the Trout Tricks underwater, and you can see that action disc gives it erratic action. Looks a little bit like that diving lure we had on earlier. And this is the kind of thing that can trigger a reaction bite. Plus, the profile of Trout Tricks minnows is an awful lot like the pond smelt that are out here. This is a sling blade flasher. You can use them for trout and landlocked salmon. But primarily this size, I think around here, is used for kokanee. And this is just a random hoochie that I grabbed out of the box, because what I want to show you is the hoochie, just like the Trout Tricks minnow, doesn't have action on its own. The flasher is what gives it action. And the flasher, as you might guess because of the name, it flashes, and that can attract fish. It also sends out sound waves, which can attract fish. Sling blades, when used properly, are going to go back and forth like that. And you see how the back and forth action of the flasher gives a little bit of action to that hoochie behind it. I'm going to pull the rod through the water and speed it up, and you'll see what happens if it goes too fast. It starts to spin. You don't want that. You want that back and forth action. It kind of actually looks like a fish just kind of swimming along. And when we're chasing salmon out here, this is probably the #1 go-to setup. This is a Pro Troll flasher. It comes in different colors. White seems to be kind of the default. Green works well too. And then you'll notice, just like with that smaller flasher, there's the hoochie. I don't have any anchovies or herring. Otherwise, this would be tipped with a little fillet of an anchovy or herring that I've let cure for a while in some salt. So I'm going to show you how this is supposed to act in the water. These are meant to be trolled slow, really no more than like 2.5 miles per hour, preferably 1.8 to 2.2, 2.3. And there you go. It rolls. And again, it's giving that hoochie action because the hoochie doesn't have it on its own. And while it's rolling, it is flashing, and it is also sending out sound waves. And this presentation right here gets a lot of salmon and trout. You can pick up trout with these too. And lastly, stick baits. This is probably my #1 go-to stick bait. And it's called stick bait just because it kind of looks like a stick. But this is the Fire Tiger Rapala. And this catches, it doesn't always catch fish, but when it does, it seems like they're usually really nice. And what happens is this bill causes them to not only dive, but kind of wiggle back and forth, and we'll demonstrate. It is going back and forth, it's wiggling its head, and this is an excellent lure to top line. In fact, why am I not using it? I'm going to put it on, send it out. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is a good lure. This is a broken back. They also come in a solid piece. Both are effective. And so those are some basic lure setups out here. These are all spoons. These are stick baits. I've got a box of nothing with flashers. And the crazy thing is, like I always say, fishing lures mostly attract fishermen. And the fact is, you can have a whole bunch of gear, and most of us do, but it seems like the same 8, 9, 10 lures, flashers, stick baits become the go-to. They're the ones that seem to work over and over again. Whatever they are for you, stick with them. That's totally fine. But you don't have to have like a suitcase full of lures in order to be successful. It really just takes a few. I should thin these out, but I can't. When it comes to fishing, I'm kind of